Have you ever been in a position that is moving in your favor, you decide to move the stop loss to break even, and then you get tagged out and the market moves to your final take profit while you miss the whole move? Or even worse, when the market is moving in your direction, it reaches very close to your final take profit and then just fully reverses, tagging you out for break even or even worse, a loss. This is the video that I want to make today. These two fixes were incredibly important lessons that I learned that turned me from an unprofitable trader for 3 years, where I was making these mistakes. I was seeing trades run and then fully reversing on me, or I was being tagged out for break even just to then see the market moving in my direction, to now becoming a profitable trader with consistent payouts pretty much on a weekly basis. Just this week, I requested another payout, and if by the time that you're watching this, the payout is approved, the certificate is going to be here. But let's break down exactly what this is. This is a very nice trade that I forecasted and executed live yesterday. I was on the stream for 2 hours. I saw the trade going into drawdown, moving into my profit, going into drawdown again, moving into profit, managing the position, and then eventually resulting in a full take profit. And here's the thing. Multiple times the trade was in profit and then ended up pulling back to my break even, right? Not many times was it in a lot of profit, but this is one of those where traders would see the fact that we've swept the low, we've created a new order block, so therefore I am moving my stops to break even. And then a couple of minutes after, the market fully pulled back to my break even, and only then did it move for a final take profit. At this time, I actually had a stop loss above this high that was very close to getting hit, that didn't get hit, and eventually moved to the take profit. And you can see it right here as the market was giving us that strong pullback, and my stop was just above that high. Now, here's the very big first lesson. Us as traders, we enter very logically in positions, right? We wait for the market to give us our confirmation, to go in our direction. In my case, I want to make sure that I trade with direction. I wait for the market to confirm. I want the market to give me a higher time frame confirmation and a lower time frame confirmation. I execute and then I let the market go. But here's the thing. I see a lot of traders that are very logical in a way that they're executing, but then when it comes to managing the position, they're actually looking at the money or the R more than any sort of logic. But let me ask you this. When you're entering in a position, are you entering because of how much the market has moved, for example, or are you entering because technical analysis has shown you, okay, listen, we have the manipulation, we have the confirmation, we closed, let me pull back, it will be easier. We closed below the 5-minute fair value gap, creating an inverted fair value gap. Then we had the 1-minute confirmation. Then I'm going to enter. Obviously, it's the second option. You look at the technicals and you say, because of all of this, I'm going to execute. But then even though your entries are very logical, your management becomes a numbers-based thing. Oh, I am running 1R, so therefore I am moving the stop loss to break even. Or the market has moved in my favor, therefore I'm moving the stop loss to break even. Turning something from a very logical decision into an emotional one, into a money-based one. And in trading, our long-term decisions should be logical. It doesn't matter how profitable or unprofitable you are. If you want to make money from trading, you need capital, and this is where prop firms come in. And right now the best one is FundedNext, be it with futures or CFDs. They have plans for everyone. It doesn't matter if you want cheap, expensive, easy challenge, easy payout, whatever you want, they have something for you. And if you use code Kimmel, it will always apply the best discount code. Check it out with the link in the description. And then we have to consider this. When you are looking at a bearish trend, you're not imagining this. Right? This is not what you imagine when I say, hey, you imagine a bearish trend. This is not what you imagine. You imagine this, right? So you imagine a very logical downwards trend where we are forming lower highs and lower lows. But then let's say that you enter here, you go into a little bit of drawdown, and then the market moves in your favor and you move your stops. Price action is pretty much guaranteed to tag you out for a loss and then go in your direction because a trend has inherent pullbacks in it. And it doesn't matter if it is a 1-minute trend or a higher time frame trend. And so therefore, my recommendation is always manage your stops based on 3 key levels, which means wherever you are, you want to manage your stops behind 3 fair value gaps or order blocks. That's the rule. So for example, right here, what we had was fair value gap, 1, order block, 2, and then bigger order block, 3. This is where I managed my stop. This is why I managed my stop above this high. And I did this all the time. When we created the other order block, fair value gap, my stops were above the order block. Then, once we moved lower and created a new order block, I managed the stops again. Then as we broke lower, I managed the stops again. And as we broke lower, by the way, let's find out where my stops were. So as we broke lower, notice how my stops are still not at break even. The stops are still above my break even. Why? Because I understand that the market can still pull back and then go to the downside. And this is how I've been able to keep the logic in my trading and not get tagged out for break even just because I wanted to make sure that I don't lose money. Listen, in trading, inherently, you are going to lose money. You are going to be wrong. It's just the nature of it. But then when you start making changes just because you don't want to lose money, you turn from a logic-based thinker into an emotional-based thinker. This is why having someone that on a daily basis shows you this live instead of just in hindsight is so important. This video is great. You can learn from the lessons, but how much more powerful would it have been to see it live? And if this is something that you're looking for and you are tired of going into the market and being confused on how to execute, how to manage, when to take profit, when to put your stop loss to break even, then inside of Funded Trading Blueprint, we guide you along the way in order to get you funded in 90 days and profitable still this year. If that is something that you're looking for, you can apply with the first link in the description. Let's move on to the second lesson. I still know a lot of traders because you messaged me on Instagram saying, why did you take profits there? Because the trade actually pulled all the way back to my break even after you exited. Why? Because traders were holding for a little bit longer. And now here's where the next lesson comes in. I was always holding for big moves. I always wanted to hold for liquidity, right? A lot of traders say liquidity is the most important thing. Liquidity is the most important thing. You have to trade with liquidity. I actually don't think so. I actually think that liquidity is a very misunderstood concept where, yes, it's important over the very short term, but big targets targeting big liquidity usually ends in a lot of break-even trades and trades that are going in your favor and fully reversing. And this is an example of it, where we reach my daily target and then eventually we fully pull back. And now you might say, well, yeah, but we still moved in our favor. Yes, but then it fully pulled back. Would you now still have full risk open? That is incredibly risky, especially overnight. And so what I started doing is I started thinking about where is it that the market reverses from? And I started seeing that before the swing low, there is always an order block. Always. And that's what I started targeting. It's a very small difference, but it changes everything over the long term. This has allowed me to stop taking so many break-evens when the trade was moving in my direction and I had no idea why it reversed from the place that it did. When I started taking profits not at the swing lows, but at the extremes, which is the last order block before the swing low. In this case, this is a 15-minute one, and instead of targeting the beginning, I targeted the 50% of that order block. But I know that if we go to the 5-minute right here, we're going to find a beautiful order block. And this is why I take my profits at the extremes and not at the swing lows. This video is important because it allows you to let your winners run, but also not let them run long enough that you take a break even. This is the video to stop taking break evens. We need to start thinking about trading in an emotional way and start applying as much logic as we can. And this is the feedback that I got from the stream, from traders that attended that stream. Today was awesome. I got 1.8R and that was my full take profit because of 30% consistency rule. I learned so much about pricing on today's live, how to make good management of stop loss and to be patient. I really appreciated how you staying with us and showing how you manage live after hitting 1.5R. I'm so glad for having a mentor like you. Or Esteban, thanks Kimmel. I was in 4% drawdown in my funded And if it wasn't for your advice, this would have not been possible. Out of 4% drawdown and locked in my second payout. So I hope you were able to take some value from this video and understand that we want to be as logical as possible always in trading. Trading is something that inherently goes against our nature as humans. We are risk adverse. We don't want to lose money. Losing money on a nature standpoint is against everything we want to do, because losing money is something dangerous. We should not be losing money, but we want to circumvent that as much as possible by inserting as much logic in our trading as possible. And so with that being said, I hope you were able to take some value away from this video. Make sure to check out my strategy right here using this video right here, or fund the next with this video right here. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.